At Reclaim the News, we thought we'd leave the official awards to the National Australia Day Council to make their questionable choices, and instead we chose to count down our Un-Australians of the Year. This was prompted by the Australian making the citizens of Victoria their Australians of the Year. But that was after they'd already named Gladys Berejiklian as their single Aussie of the Year. Read the room, guys. Seriously. Before we start, we'd like to acknowledge the true heroes of the year of apocalypse that was 2020. We invited Victorian Premier Daniel Andrews to say a few words, but he was busy celebrating rendering Triple J's Hottest 100 forever uncool, so we're welcoming back to Reclaim the News, young Dan Andrews.
Our heroes, everyone who followed social distancing guidelines, wore masks and washed our hands, and those who were locked down for months to protect the rest of us. We love you, Victoria. A thank you to all frontline health professionals, contact tracers, COVID testers, pathology staff, aged care, supermarket and other essential workers, and hotel quarantine staff who all risk their health to keep society functioning. A thank you also to ATO and Centrelink staff who had to implement JobKeeper and JobSeeker practically overnight, and everyone who lost work but were kept out of the government support programs. For example, people in the arts and universities, casual workers, overseas students and temporary migrant workers, any employers who went out of their way to help them, and the charities that filled the gaps the government refused to acknowledge. A shout out to the usually independent journos who followed the principles of journalism and called out the shitfuckery here and overseas. And of course, everyone who facilitated the education of kids at home deserve a special award for not losing their shit. Now, to the all-important Un-Australian of the Year awards.
Coming in at 20, Karen from Brighton. Remember her? 19. Anyone who panic bought toilet paper, especially those people who then tried to return a year's supply of toilet paper to the stores whose shelves they had stripped bare. Number 18. Sky News for being the propaganda channel of choice for conspiracy theorists and white supremacists both here and via their YouTube channel in the US. Number 17. Patient Zero from Avalon in Sydney's northern beaches for ruining Christmas for the entire eastern seaboard and forcing the independent sovereign nation of Australia to become independent and sovereign again. 16. Victorian Liberal MP Tim Smith for... Honestly, where do we even start with this dickhead? That goes for the rest of the Victorian Liberal Party too. Not only did none of you help, you made things so much worse. 15. Landlords who didn't help their tenants during lockdown. 14. Anyone who suggested dress-up Zoom calls. Just no. 13. Sky News Peter Credlin for not wearing her mask properly when gate-crashing Daniel Andrews' press conferences, and for expecting anyone to believe that what she was doing was journalism. Number 12. Any world leader who holidayed in Hawaii whilst their country burned to the ground. See, we didn't forget Scotty. We just didn't think he deserved to win such a prestigious title. Number 11. Anyone who undermined the COVID restrictions, border closures, or who called the virus a hoax. Number 10. Adam Crichton, the economics editor for the Australian newspaper, for suggesting his own father would be willing to sacrifice his remaining years for the good of the economy. Number 9. Gideon Rosner from the Institute of Public Affairs, who backed Crichton up by arguing that we smashed our economy in response to bogus coronavirus modelling. Let's not do it again for the sake of bogus climate modelling. In fact, let's include every sociopath with a media platform who argued we should let the virus rip just so billionaires could make even more money. Number 8. A late entry for Margaret Court. Unlike the Awards Council, we don't reward homophobia, bigotry, or hitting a ball decades ago. Especially when she's already been amply rewarded for her contribution to ball hitting. Number 7. The National Australia Day Awards Council for making a mockery of our honour system by giving Court another award in the first place. Number 6. Bosses who screwed over their staff to exploit JobKeeper. Number 5. The UK Australia Day Foundation for giving Rupert Murdoch a Lifetime Achievement Award for being an Australian pioneer who transformed the world's media landscape. 500,000 people signed a petition for a royal commission into Murdoch's Australian media operations, but sure, you do you. Number 4. Peter Dutton for still keeping the Biloela family locked up on Christmas Island. Number 3. Any journalist who regurgitated the government's talking points instead of holding them to account. In particular, those working for the Herald Sun in Melbourne who waged a war on the mental health of every Victorian in lockdown. Number 2. Rachel Baxendale for forcing Daniel Andrews to provide sex ed in his 71st press conference and making 2020 just that little bit weirder. What's the issue, Rachel? Number 2.5. Anybody still working from home? Get back to work for the sake of the economy. Sarcasm. And the Reclaim the News Un-Australian of the Year award goes to Treasurer Josh Frydenberg, who started the year publicly mocking the notion that government should care for their people's health, lost $60 billion down the back of Treasury's couch, and spent months attacking his home state of Victoria over a brutal lockdown that worked, all in the name of the economy over which he presides. Well done, Josh. I'm sure the residents of your electorate Kooyong aren't going to hold this against you at all come the next election. This director's cut of the Reclaim the News Un-Australian Awards is dedicated to the wonderful people who demanded a longer version of our original awards video. We cannot thank you enough for your support.